BB851, turn right, heading 180. 14 Papa, turn right 245, report localizer established 27.
Originally being grounded in March of 2019, the Boeing 737 MAX has spent nearly 2 full years grounded and not flying with any passengers. The past 20 months or so, though, have been a crucial period for Boeing and the FAA and also other regulators, discussing and allowing Boeing the time to correct the numerous faults that were within the aircraft, namely that of MCAS and the AOA sensors. Since the uncovering of those main problems, more like wire bundles were also found, delaying the return to service. However, today, the Boeing 737 MAX has officially been ungrounded by the FAA in the United States. The head of the Federal Aviation Administration, or more commonly referred to as the FAA, today signed all the papers that were required to officially unground the Boeing 737 MAX, following thorough tests that have resulted in the board being comfortable in allowing the type to have passengers flying on it again. One of the main things that was going to get the 737 MAX approved was Steve Dickson himself flying on the aircraft, who is the head of the FAA. He has now flown on it and has said himself he is more than comfortable with the changes that have been made. The Boeing 737 MAX will now be ready to fly commercially within the United States following the ungrounding order. And as you may have already known if you've been watching the channel, American Airlines is to be the first carrier to fly the 737 MAX again, with a service from Miami to New York taking place between the dates of December 29th, 2020 and January 5th initially. Obviously, American Airlines is not the only US carrier that does benefit from the ungrounding, with United Airlines and also Southwest flying the type and therefore being directly impacted by this ungrounding order. However, these two customers have already announced the plane won't be returning to the skies with them until at least sometime in 2021, and not as quick as maybe some would expect. Southwest, though, is expecting on seeing the type return in Q2 of 2021, while United is Q1 of 2021. These plans being tentative and subject to change, of course. The initial period the Boeing 737 MAX flies with customers on that Miami to New York service for the airline to understand how passengers flying on the type feel. The roughly week-long period will not only enable American Airlines to better plan for their full return to service, but also enable customers yet to introduce the type back into service a case study to see the immediate reaction. Either way, the past fortnight or so has been quite positive for the aircraft, with the EASA, that's the European Aviation Safety Authority if you will, who are conducting their own testing, also noting that they were pleased with the changes that Boeing had made, indicating that a return to service within Europe might not be too far away either. Boeing still faces an uphill battle to see the popularity and the masses flock back to the 737 MAX, but following this ungrounding order, you could certainly say it is headed in the right direction for the first time in a long time. If you have any thoughts on the ungrounding of the Boeing 737 MAX, do not hesitate to leave them in the comments below. And as always, thank you very much for your continued support. It really is greatly appreciated. Please take care and stay safe.